Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending tonight's Detox Diva call. This is a topic near and dear to my heart. I love kids. I spent 16 years as an in home daycare provider, and I love a good detox. And Amber, I'm going to introduce her in a second, reached out to me about some protocols for kids. And so I started working on some stuff for her. And I'm like, you know what? This would be a great Detox Diva conversation. So thank you all for being here tonight. Kids and heavy metal detox, what every mama needs to know is going to be our topic. So, first, I want to start out by introducing the company to you so that you know when you get a product from Heart and Body Naturals or from Go to Sauna, it is of the highest quality. These two women are obsessed with purity and potency of the ingredients, not only that are in the bottle, but that they source. They bring it in house. We have our own in house manufacturing facility because we want total control on the purity. We had too many rejects when it would come into the in house quality control department. When we outsourced our manufacturing, so Paula said, I'm just going to do it myself because nobody can do it better than me. So we were founded sharing the healing trilogy, which is mind, body, and soul. Soul is one of the products we're going to talk about tonight, built on values of authenticity, ethics, transparency, and actually 15 years of integrity with over 200 clean and effective products, all backed by 100% no questions asked, money back guarantee. Alexandria Brighton, the woman on the bottom, is a highly intuitive natural aromatherapist, plant medicine woman. She's been studying this plant medicine since the 70s, has studied underneath many different, very well known aromatherapists around the world, including a holistic oncologist out of Germany. So she's very well rounded in her education. I'm told she sleeps with her herbal books to keep them close to her so that she can soak up all that knowledge from the written words of that. So it's pretty exciting. We're going to talk about some pretty heavy stuff tonight. So I do want to make sure that everyone that's watching this, either live or on replay, understands that this has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. It's not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any diseases. We're here to support the body to heal itself. The information is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a medical care or qualified healthcare professional. You should seek that advice of a healthcare professional before undertaking any dietary or lifestyle changes. The information provided is for educational purposes only. It's not for use by children, other than what we're going to talk about tonight: pregnant nursing moms, individuals with weakened immune systems. Again, that's going to take some mama's intuition and some conversations with whatever health practitioner you choose to go with. And keep out of reach of children's and pets because, you know, they might dump it all over the floor. So my name, for those of you that don't know me, and this is your first time call, let me know in the chat too if this is a first call with the Detox Divas that you are attending. Would love to know that. I am a wellness coach, author. I'm founder of iRose Healing, which is my own personal company of health and wellness and education coaching, and the Detox Divas community, which you're a part of just by showing up this week and every week for some of you. I specialize in root cause healing through detoxification protocols, mineral balancing, and emotional release work. And my mission is to empower women and families to take their health back through education, not through fear. Amber is this beautiful soul who I met back in 2021. She got the date for me tonight. I just totally enjoyed my conversations with her. She's just such a pure spirit, and is highly intuitive herself. So it's such a compliment when someone that with such high intuitive skills like Amber chooses to use products or talk about products from this line. In 2000, I'm going to let you tell your story later, so I'm not going to read that right now. But she does own high country homeopathy. She is a homeopathic practitioner, And you'll get to know her in just a little bit when we get to her part. So thank you, Amber, for being a part of this. So who is this call for tonight? This is for mamas and daddies who want to protect their kids from hidden toxins. Parents whose kids struggle with behavior issues, focus, chronic illnesses, and anyone raising kids in today's toxic world. So if this sounds like you or your family or someone you care about, this is exactly where you need to be tonight. So here is the shocking truth. 287 industrial chemicals are found in the umbilical cord upon birth. 180 plus of those are linked to cancer, brain damage, and birth defects. There are 0 legal requirements to test for chemicals for safety before use, and that is from the EWG 2005. And the heavy metals these kids and babies and even us are being exposed to is lead, mercury, arsenic, aluminum, and cadmium. Lead's coming from old paint, pipes, the soil. You've got brain and nervous system damage with that. You've got mercury coming in, that's in the fish, the vaccines, and the dental fillings, and that's neurological and developmental delays. You've got arsenic that's found in rice, groundwater, and pesticides. Hello, Iowa. The only state in the entire country that cancer rates continue to rise, and we're number 2 in the nation for cancer cases. And I said that because of pesticides and because we're a huge agriculture state. And the impact is cancer and immune dysfunction on that. And then you've got aluminum, you've got vaccines, antiperspirants, which you shouldn't be using anything with aluminum if you've been on these calls. Cookware, and you've got cognitive issues, autism links. There's breast cancer also that's going to come into play with that. And then cadmium is cigarette smoking, food packaging, and that's going to kidney damage and bone loss. So how are kids getting exposed to all of this? Well, quite honestly, we did a call on this a couple months ago, maybe early last year, and it actually starts before birth. The toxins can cross the placenta, and what mommy carries in her body, the baby is going to absorb. But also you can find that in the father's sperm as the epigenetic changes through the sperm and then fertilizes the egg. Breast milk, fat-soluble toxins transferred during nursing. Rice-based formulas can carry arsenic. Baby foods, FDA studies found arsenic, lead, mercury in commercial baby foods. It's really not that hard to steam some vegetables, run it through a food purator, and freeze that. Vaccines, aluminum, trace metals. This is a toxology conversation, not an anti-vaccine conversation. I just want to be clear on that. I have a post on my wall today about mercury, that the mercury was tested in 1929. It was developed by Eli Lilly, and it was never actually tested on babies. It was tested on what was the disease? I'm drawing a blank on that right now. Starts with meningitis, and all 22 people ended up dying, but they said it wasn't from the vaccine. It wasn't from the mercury that they had used in the vaccine. It was from the disease, and no further testing was done. But yet it's a strong part of some of the vaccines. One of them was just removed in 2025 after, I think, 15 years of having it been in there and questioned on many different levels. Food and water, glyphosate, of course, Roundup, artificial dyes, heavy metals in water, processed foods, 5 days a week. And then bath and skin. You put those babies in that warm bath water, their skin pores open up, and then you put that Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo and body wash on them, and their skin absorbs those cancer-causing and emotionally, developmentally challenging chemicals that are in the baby wash products. And so what goes on your child is going to go in your child. So here are some signs. Actually, Amber, I'm going to have you unmute on this because you've got some firsthand experience with this part of it specifically. If you wouldn't want to mind telling a little bit about your story and some of the things that you experienced and what you've seen in your community with your clients and stuff and what their kids have experienced.
Sure. My family experienced some of the vaccine damage. We didn't know about it back in the day. My middle child we were born in Phoenix, Arizona, and went to the pediatrician. We were doing all the things that we were told and thought we were supposed to do. Um, and I just kind of knew, like, that mama intuition that something didn't go quite right. She spiked a fever and her eyes were very glassy. And I don't know, there was that fade away that you hear other moms kind of talk about. And everybody just said, "Oh, you're being crazy. Just give her some Tylenol." And I took her back to the pediatrician, and there was, a very dismissed situation, as you're all kind of probably aware. And we just moved on, and she developed all right. She was moving forward, meeting some of the most prevalent milestones, but she wasn't talking. And finally, by 2.5, she was nonverbal. And we started working with birth to three services. And I started down the road of asking a bunch of questions that people don't want to ask and people don't want to answer, and they get very uncomfortable. And so this was back in 2011. So that would have been 2011, 2010, 2011. By the time her 5-year shots rolled around, we were living in the state of West Virginia, where there are no options. You have to vaccinate your children in order for them to go to any kind of school. West Virginia also does not have a lot of options in schooling, unlike Texas now. They came to the house and they said if I did not vaccinate her, that I would lose custody and that she would be vaccinated anyway. And so I went to the doctor and we did what I was forced to do at the time as a single mom living in West Virginia with not very many options. And within 24 hours of those shots, which they of course did all at once, Grace developed, that was my daughter's, she developed the rocking and the screaming and a lot of tears. There was a lot of tears. And then by day 2, there was a lot of urination. So we could tell that her body was trying to flush and flush and flush and flush. And took her to the emergency room, took her back to the emergency room. And they proceeded to tell me they thought she broke her leg. Or I pushed and pushed for more testing because I said, this is what we had just encountered. And they said, oh, that would absolutely not be the case. This has nothing to do with those shots. Um, they tried to tell me it was Lyme disease. And all the while they are pushing ibuprofen at massive quantities, which was just crushing her liver even more. And at that point in time, I was a massage therapist in the community, and I had heard stories of a medical intuitive that had a little shop in the back corner someplace. And I checked her out against medical advice and swooped her up in her nightgown. And I just went to his front door and I said, please help me. We're losing this. And he looked at her little 5-year-old face and he said, you can take all of these pills, can't you? And she said, yes, sir. And he put us on 11 different pills and he started educating me on detoxing all of the heavy metals that had just gone into her system. And that was a big project that involved a lot of supplementation, cleaning up her diet. We did a lot of raw food at the time, a lot of smoothies. We did a lot of lymphatic massage. I took her to a friend of mine that did special cupping. A lot of baths with bentonite clay. And we used essential oils, much like the one that you have now, Tina. And we were able to pull her out of it. We were able to pull her back. Um, but it was about 7 before she was speaking in any kind of fashion that we could understand.
Your
And
poor mama, huh?
yeah, and she still struggles. We struggle with Hashimoto's. We're always constantly riding that line of are the symptoms here, or are they not?
Mhm.
But so that's my first story that brought me here. And then we had another child, and that's a whole other MTHFR journey.
Okay, we're going to get to the MTHFR here in a second. So you can see on the screen there the other issues and stuff that might be warning signs. And of course, pay attention to your intuition. Like Amber said, she knew something wasn't right in her soul, and she knew her baby was suffering. And when you have that motherhood bond, you know that there is something wrong, and you do not stop for that child until you find that answer. And thank God she found that answer. So here's some reasons why kids are more vulnerable. Let me get back up there on that share screen again. Their liver and kidneys are still maturing. And so when you think about injecting them, and not to mention that, but all the chemicals that the mom might carry that came with the sperm, the fast food, the food coloring, the nerds. I heard that there was enough, is it mercury in nerds, that it is a toxic level if you eat the entire box of it. They're exposed to all of this at such a tender young age, but their liver and kidneys don't know how to detox yet. That's still maturing. And detox enzymes don't even fully, yes, thank you, Greta, arsenic. Detox enzymes not fully online until they're a teenager. And so children absorb up to 50% of ingested lead versus the 10% of adults. Rapidly dividing cells are far more vulnerable to DNA disruption, and kids with the MTHFR can't methylate and detox efficiently. So Amber's going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But metals accumulate faster because of that. So your pediatrician is not telling you this, number one, because they're not trained in toxicology. Medical schools include fewer than 4 hours on environmental health. Testing is rarely ordered. There's no pharmaceutical solution without a drug to prescribe. There's no standard protocol to follow. And you just can't discuss the toxic load. MTHFR detox requires functional medicine knowledge, and you can't do that in 15 minutes. So, Amber, I'm going to go back to you. And if you want to talk about your second story and what this all means and why this call is so important, especially for people and specifically children tonight with that MTHFR gene.
This is how I found Miss Tina. So I was fortunate enough to find a beautiful man who stepped into our lives, and I got remarried and had another daughter. So I have three daughters. And I didn't know anything about MTHFR. Isn't that funny? Isn't that how it always works, that we learn
Yeah.
through our experiences and not before? And so we had a beautiful little daughter in the middle of 2020. That's a whole other story. But I noticed immediately that she wasn't tracking with her eyes during breastfeeding. Now, all three of my daughters were breastfed. And she had a little blue vein that ran across her forehead right here. They call it the sugar bug. And I started doing a little bit of research, and she had been a home birth because it was 2020 and that was insane. And so I was just kind of left alone. There was a lot of aloneness in that 2020 trying to figure things out one more time. And I started doing a lot of research, and I was like, hey, this is an MTHFR thing. And I started looking at it. Yeah, it's a little thing. It's a little blue vein that runs across the middle of the forehead in between the eyes. And it's an indicator. There are others. You can tell with the eyes and the ears at this point now. I've configured it out. But um, what it started pointing to was genetic issues in our family. And not just my family, but in my new husband's family. And what I started to learn was about the detoxification and how it's compromised with B vitamins, and how often are pregnant women told to take folic acid. And so all of the prenatal vitamins that so very many of us are taking because we want our children to be healthy is actually toxic for people who have an MTHFR SNP, as they call it. And so that was a whole other level of detox. And as Claire was, my youngest, was growing, and she was meeting a lot of the same milestones, but she was not talking. That was when I found Tina and fulvic acid. And I thought, hey, this is the best way to detox by adding something that's really great, that the body is not going to fight, because a lot of the other detox things just challenge an already exhausted system.
Mhm.
And so that led me down a road of working with Tina and Tina's products and learning homeopathy. I really dove hard into homeopathy. And now I'm spending a lot of time working with clients that have nonverbal children on the autism spectrum. Almost all of them have an MTHFR genetic connection and compromised detox pathways. And so I reached out to Tina. She said I reached out to Tina to say, hey, how can we help these kiddos with detoxing some of this heavy metals that's still in there? You have the best products. 5 years later, I still think you have the best products. Like, help me help them.
Yeah. Yeah. I always will have the best products. Oh, hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, good. I thought maybe I got cut off. And so do you want to talk about like why does this matter with the detoxing part for the kids? Like why they're
One of the places that heavy metals accumulate is in the brain. Now, it can be in all tissues, but heavy metals specifically really love the brain and the kidneys. And so one of the first things people will see is that there is if it's from infancy on, that there is oftentimes a delayed speech, cognitive impairments. They seem to be kind of behind like a glass wall, that the eyes just quite aren't tracking, that they're struggling to connect. It really is a
Mhm.
connection issue.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing about working with these nonverbal children is that they find a way. They find a way to communicate, even if it's telepathically and non-linearly, and they really do still find ways to bridge that kind of chasm that sometimes these heavy metal toxic loads have created. Um, and so that's one of the primary reasons that I reached out to Tina for the protocols we're going to go over. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why, so as she said, they can't detox. One, kids can't detox like an adult. And then you throw in the MTHFR on top of that. And it is like she said, it's a very slow process. And you have to spot check and reevaluate every 30 to 60 days just to make sure that they aren't having the detox science symptoms. You are increasing the serving sizes very, very slowly. So just like with us though, you have to make sure those detox pathways are open, that they're pooping every day, they're sweating, when they're playing. Sometimes, if it's hot out, kids don't sweat as much as adults, but if they're really outside playing in that summer heat, they're going to sweat. And then we want to nourish and support the body through it. We want to bind and remove very, very, very gently, because the Herxheimer reaction, which we talked about last week on the call, that's your detox symptoms showing up. That Herxheimer reaction can be pretty severe for kids, and we don't want that. We want all of our people that take our products to have an enjoyable experience. You might have some mild symptoms with that, but we don't ever want it to be harsh. And so we want to bind and gently remove. And then again, we're one of the only companies that restores the minerals and the gut health after. Like it's such a, we're so blessed to be able to offer these products to you. And so a lot of influencers and health coaches online are going to say, go right in there with that heavy metal binder, go right in there with that parasite cleanse. No, 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 you can't. You have to do it in this sequence, or those toxins have nowhere to go. They just recirculate and they land someplace else. This is why you have to prepare the body first.
And that is really where the MTHFR genetic SNP comes in, is that it really is the body doesn't know what to do with it. So even if you're asking the right thing with the right product, you have to go low and slow, and you have to give the body a chance to figure out how it's going to utilize this, because we don't have the typical B vitamin glutathione detox pathways. It has to get, just like with the communication, it has to get very creative with how it's going to get these things out. And some moms have to also get very creative.
Yeah. Yeah. So, number one, opening those elimination pathways, hydration. I know it's hard to get kids to drink water. Well, it was with my kids, but my son and his wife, with my two grandbabies, those two kids carry a thermos of water with them absolutely everywhere they go. So I'm so proud of them for doing that. They're constantly drinking water. Add a pinch of real mineral salt to that. Dehydrated kids cannot move toxins through their kidneys or bowels. This is a non-negotiable. They've got to have those fluids. Your child should be having at least one full bowel movement daily. If they're constipated, nothing else works. You got to increase that water, the magnesium, fiber rich foods, healthy fats before adding in any supplements. Like this could take a whole, month or two just to get step one done. You've got to clean up that diet. Mamas, I know you get busy. I know it's hard sometimes, and grabbing those cheeseburgers to the drive-through or grabbing those snack packs or a bag of Cheetos or whatever that is, you've got to clean up that diet because you're just throwing more garbage into a system that can't handle that garbage. And it's going to clog the liver and the gut. And before you even start, you've got to switch to organic where possible, especially the dirty dozen. I've got a sheet on that someplace I can share in the group later. Sweat and move. I don't think it's real hard to get kids to move, especially when the weather's nice or they just have all this energy. My daughter used to run from her second floor bedroom down the split staircase, out the front room, and around the block. She would just get this burst of energy and she'd go, I'm going for a run. And she was gone. And she was like, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. But so they got to have that. Epsom salt baths is very, very good. It's going to help both the sweating and the transdermal mineral absorption, which minerals is a big thing for this. And baths 3 to 4 times a week. I know it's fun when they graduate and they can start taking showers, but make those baths last as long as possible. Sleep is so incredibly important. The glymphatic system clears the brain toxins during deep sleep, and kids with heavy metal burden often have that disrupted sleep, which creates a vicious cycle. You've got to prioritize sleep hygiene and consistent bedtime routines. And then reduce those incoming toxins. We're going to talk about, I think I left that off actually, but Go to Sauna does have a toxic free lavender bath soap that's handcrafted that would be great for a nighttime ritual. It's hair and body, so you don't have to worry about anything. It's all in one. I think it's like I don't know, like $10 or something like that. It's not that bad. And eliminate those synthetic fragrances from the home, those plug-ins. Filter your water, just get a Brita or something and keep that in your fridge and stop adding to your child's burden because that's one of the big things that we don't think about. $12.95. Thank you, Lillian. The more toxins we bring into the home, the harder that is for our kids whose detox pathways are not even mature until they're a teenager. They can't handle it. And then step two, we're going to go in and we're going to nourish and we're going to support that body. We're going to do some mineral replenishment, heavy metals, occupy the mineral receptor sites. So when zinc, magnesium, psyllium, and iron are low, the body holds on to lead, cadmium, and mercury because it needs something in those slots. And that's where fulvic acid is going to come in for these babies. And I suggest the drops for kids, especially with the MTHFR, because of the detox pathways. It's a lot less potent than the powder. Even just soaking their feet in a basin of water with a dropper of the mineral drops is going to be enough for somebody with the MTHFR or any children or any child. But that's going to have those 77 plus trace minerals, the zinc, the magnesium, the psyllium, the iron, all of that is going to go in there and plug up those mineral receptor sites. Whole food nutrition, soul superfood is going to be another thing that is going to be great for these kiddos. It's got the chlorella, the spirulina, the milk thistle, dandelion root, turmeric, and it's in whole food form, right? And so we don't take just the part of the milk thistle from the plant. We take the whole plant. It's the whole thing. So you're having this beautiful salad basically in powder form. And that chlorella is going to bind to those metals in the gut. The milk thistle and dandelion root are going to help support the liver phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. And then turmeric is going to reduce that inflammation. This is a safer alternative that heavy metal binder. Our heavy metal binder is a little too potent for younger children, teenagers, maybe. Yes, but for the younger kids, we want to just kind of keep it as simple and as easy as possible because of those detox pathways. Then we've got the gut microbiome support. Kids 10 and older can take gut check. Fulvic acid is going to have that gut microbiome support also, but gut check for kids 10 and older is going to be super beneficial for them to help restore that gut flora. And then the detoxing supporting foods, the cilantro, the wild blueberry, the garlic, leafy greens. I mean, who doesn't love garlic bread? Well, if it's sourdough, I guess, right? Because that doesn't have the glyphosates in it. Those are not optional add-ons. Food is the foundation for every protocol. You can't supplement your way to better health. You've got to feed your body too. And then you've got to have healthy fats. The brain is 60% fat. Heavy metals are fat soluble and stored in fatty tissue. Children need high quality fats, avocado, coconut oil, olive oil, pasture butter, wild caught fish. And they need that. They need that later to rebuild what the metals have damaged and to support the bile flow. And then you've got magnesium. This is a big one. And if you know anybody, like this month, our sleep magnesium spray, I've got a slide on that later, is free with certain purchases, but kids burn through, we talked about sleep, right? And so kids burn through magnesium faster than they can replenish it. And topical magnesium, like the sleep oil spray, bypasses the gut entirely. The Epsom salt baths are another excellent delivery method. And then oral magnesium glycinate is also well tolerated for most children. But that sleep spray, you're knocking two things out at once. Then we're going to bind and remove it gently. So fulvic acid is your binder and your chelator. Actually, it's uniquely valuable because it chelates heavy metals without requiring the methylation pathways to function. And this makes it essential for the MTHFR kids whose phase 2 liver detoxification is already compromised. And it does cross the cell membranes. Remember, we've talked about it can get inside the cells. It cleans the cells, it detoxifies, oxygenates, and then it carries them out through the kidneys and bowels. And we use Clark's rules for serving sizes. And we are going to start, and I've got a chart on that coming up, and we're going to start at half of that calculated dose. I'm going to show you how to calculate that here and slowly build over 2 to 4 weeks. Now, with us adults, I always tell you, give yourself 2 to 5 days when starting fulvic, just to make sure you don't have those detox pathway or detox symptoms. But with kids, we're doing it 2 to 4 weeks. And then the chlorella in the soul, that's going to act as a binder also in the gut, catching metals and toxins as they're released through the bile into the intestines. And without a binder, the metals just get reabsorbed. We talk about that a lot on the Detox Divas. Soul provides this binding action in whole food form, again, alongside liver supporting herbs. And so that is going to make it a much safer approach. And then the food-based chelators. Cilantro mobilizes mercury and lead from the tissue storage. Did you know that? I love cilantro. Some people think it tastes like soap. It's like, I don't get that. Garlic provides the sulfur compounds. Wild blueberries contain unique antioxidants that can cross the blood-brain barrier and help reverse that oxidative stress. And these work alongside supplements, not instead of them. And the really cool thing is that when you're taking that fulvic acid, it's going to amplify all of the benefits you're getting from everything else by 65 times its weight. So watch for those reactions. And if you get a reaction, you've got to back off. Maybe they're only doing 1 drop a day in a smoothie, and that's all their little systems can handle. And so watch for rashes, behavioral regression, loose stool, sleep disruption. And then slow down, cut the dose in half, add more water. This means toxins are mobilizing faster than that body can handle them. And so again, we want to keep it so super easy on them. And then we're going to come back in again with that fulvic. Like fulvic is foundational. I want everybody to say that every single day. Fulvic is foundational. Fulvic drops are not just for the detox phase. They are maintenance. The heavy metals were exposed all the time, right? Heavy metals deplete the zinc, psyllium, iron, magnesium, and calcium. Replenishing these minerals with that fulvic is going to allow the body to stop reaching for the toxic metals and fill those empty receptor sites. This is ongoing daily practice, which you, I hope, are following. Then we're going to rebuild that gut lining. Heavy metal damages the intestinal lining, leaky gut. Food sensitivity, bone broth is going to be great. Fermented foods, you can make your own bone broth. Fermented foods, serve some sauerkraut, some pickles, some pickled olives. I love green olives, and I'll pop a couple of those throughout the day, actually. And for kids 10 and plus, we've got that gut check that they can start taking. And then support the methylation. For MTHFR kids, methylation support is lifelong. Like this is forever their life. And methylated B vitamins, magnesium, zinc are those building blocks. And Soul Superfood is going to provide the plant-based methylation cofactors. Avoid any synthetic folic acid in fortified foods and cheap multivitamins because it blocks those pathways. Clean living is not just until your kids get better, it is long term. And then, like I said, reassess, check in with your kids. How are they feeling? How is their attitude? How are they performing in school? How is their sleep? What is their skin looking like? It says every 90 days, but every 3 to 6 months, really, you should be checking in. And the biggest thing here, I think, Amber, you can probably speak on this because you're such a calm soul. Kids are going to internalize their parents' emotions. And so, did you see that with your daughter?
Oh, especially my youngest. She seems to be the most emotional of my three daughters. Um, oh, it's complicated. They're moms and daughters, right? And that it's almost like you have to re learn to regulate yourself. So I would just encourage everybody to be doing this protocol for themselves as well as their children. I think it's like when you're on a plane and they tell you that you have to put the mask on yourself
Mm-hmm.
and not just the children. I think so oftentimes moms and dads and caregivers in general of these super special kiddos, it's hard to remember to take care of yourself, but you have to be doing that as well because you're not going to regulate their system if your system is not also regulated.
Right.
And that's just a hard truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kids do feed off the energy in the room. So here is the Clark's rule of serving. So you're going to take the child's weight and divide that by 150, and then you're going to multiply that by the adult dose. And so let's say I don't have a calculator here, but I put an example. So we'll say a 50-pound child divided by 150. That's going to be 1/3 of the adult dose. And you're always going to start at half of that calculated dose until you can build up to the actual calculated dose. Does that make sense? You want to start off at half of what that calculation would come out. I forgot my fulvic photo there, but I have it over here. So, fulvic is the naturally occurring compound formed over millions of years from decomposed plant matter, 77 plus trace minerals, electrolytes in ionic form, which means the body recognizes them and absorbs them immediately. It works at the cellular level by crossing cell membranes, chelating, binding heavy metals and toxins, carrying them out through the kidneys and the bowels. And unlike pharmaceutical chelators, fulvic acid does not require methylation pathways to function. It also enhances, like I said, the nutrient absorption. So start at half. So on those drops, it is 20 drops for an adult. So you would do that, their weight divided by 150 would give you the baseline or your optimal dose. Then you would start at half of whatever that calculation was.
Can I just add there that if
Yeah.
you have children and or yourself that are brand new to detoxifying and trying to clean up your system and you have an MTHFR genetic SNP, it's okay. I loved Tina told me this a long time ago and I just absolutely held on to it. It's one of the reasons I think I leaned into homeopathy. She told me to put a little toothpick in the bag and just put it in, and so if you're using the drops, what I do is I just put one drop in. And what it does is it just starts introducing,
Hmm.
even just at this very nano level of like, hey, energetically, we're going to introduce something new. And you just do one drop and one drop and one drop. So
Yeah.
if you jump in and you do these and you find that you're getting a lot of those Herx effects, don't quit. This is what I would say go back to say to myself, don't quit. Just stop and just do one drop and one drop and one drop. And then maybe the next week you do two drops. And you need to like it's like the whole body system needs to know that it's safe and it needs to figure out what it's going to do with this system. And so just go easy and slow. And eventually the body does figure it out. It just takes a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we were talking about the powder and just dipping the toothpick
Yeah.
in that powder and stirring it in the child's juice because that's all they could handle. And my friend Tanya, I don't know if you guys have seen her call, but she went from bedridden to walking over 10,000 steps a day and taking vacations everywhere. Um, but she started with dipping that toothpick in, and that was just for a foot soak. That wasn't even taking it internally. And so, if you're finding that even that one drop is too much for that child of that fulvic, put 2 to 3 drops in a basin in the sink. Let your kids have a bath in the sink if they're small enough, or in the tub. Kind of guess, just have it be a very, very, very light color of just tan, and maybe just 10 drops in a bathtub. Just that slow introduction and building up over 2 to 4 weeks or longer, depending on how your child responds. But Soul Superfood, one of my favorites for that liver love that it gives. It's a whole food powder. It delivers the detox supporting nutrients most children are missing. This should be a daily for kids every day. Mix it into smoothies, applesauce, yogurt juice. It's got a very mild flavor. Kids tolerate it really, really well. Milk thistle, dandelion root, turmeric. Great stuff there. We've got the gut check, which is the matcha probiotic hydration. It's going to combine that ceremonial grade matcha with targeted gut healing compounds to support that microbiome. Matcha green tea got some caffeine in it, so it's 10 and older. My grandkids drink coffee. So that's up to you, mama. Microbiome X is a patented ingredient that's got several case studies, peer-reviewed studies behind that. It's a flavonoid extract. It promotes a balanced gut microbiome. You've got the blue agave inulin in there. You've got the fulvic in there too. So when you get to this stage, maybe gut check is all you would need. You wouldn't need the fulvic as well for this child. And then it's got the coconut water powder, which is a natural electrolyte. Fulvic's a natural electrolyte as well. That is a safety group 3. We just went over that. That was a duplicate slide. So essential oils are another one. There's essential oil, Amber. I don't think I've shared this with you, but there's an essential oil at Gotasana called Tox Begone, and it is for children, and it is a detox type essential oil just for kids. And so it's a safety group. It's a safety group 2, which means safe for ages 3 and up when diluted. Kids' oils need to be diluted because their detox pathways and their systems are so fragile. We think that they're just these superhuman little people. They can fall and break an arm and get back on the ball field, 6 weeks later, no problem. But they do have some internal things that are not quite developed yet. So make sure you're following that. And then there is a brochure called Kids and Elderly with Essential Oils. It's the Still Room recipe book for children and elderly. There's some great recipes in there. It's got all this safety information. Alexandra is huge on essential oil safety. Safety group 4 products. I'm hoping I can put together a full list for HBN that has the different safety group calculations or categories assigned to those. So there you have that. Peppermint, never under 30 months, breathing spasm risk. I don't know if you can read that with my little hover thing right there. So there's the health and wellness blends. There's calm, concentrate, digest. If they've got some tummy issues going on, there's ear relief, eczema relief for kids, kids wellness, which is great if they're not feeling well. Lavender ice for kids, bud protect, burn care after bite. There's an essential oil for head lice. And blends are usually safer than single oils because the smaller percentages of stronger oils is balanced by Alexandria. Newborns can benefit from lavender fine, lavender vera, naoli, ravensara rose can be applied neat to the soles of the feet. And again, that there it is, the lavender bar soap. This is your bath time solution. This is what you get for your kids to help them sleep at night. It's non-toxic. You're not adding extra chemicals to their sensitive little bodies. Here are your foods as medicine. I'm trying to go fast because we're running out of time. We went through that just a second ago. So there's that. Oh, great. Okay. So this is it. So if you're brand new and you have an order of 100 CV, you're going to get the sleep magnesium oil, 75,000 milligrams of zilstein magnesium chloride sourced from 1,500 meters below the ancient zesty. I don't even know how to say that town. Sea bed, combined with Divana, lavender, plumera, ylang essential oils for deep restorative. This is safe for kids. Sprayed on the thighs, the neck, and the shoulders 10 to 15 minutes before bed. That magnesium is going to absorb transdermally, which is excellent for kids. I love this oil. If you use, or this spray, if you guys use that spray, drop that in the chat. I want to see your testimonies. Next month is colon support. That's not safe. That's a category 3, I think it is. Colon support will be the free product next month that you will get with certain orders. Just reach out to whoever shared this with you. And common questions. How do you know if your child actually has heavy metals? Look for symptom clusters. Testing options include hair mineral, functional labs. Start with symptoms. How are they acting? Do they have behavior issues, sleep issues, things like that? Is your child a picky eater, won't take anything? Well, that fulvic acid, one drop in their water or their juice or whatever taking, they are not going to experience any flavor from that. Soul powder, again, we're going to use that Clark's rule. We're using a half a teaspoon, I think it is, or a teaspoon for adults. So they're going to maybe take a fourth of a teaspoon of that powder, mix that into soups, smoothies. I made a salad dressing tonight with mine. Start with what they'll take and then build from there. And then your pediatrician says your child's fine. What with that? Well, conventional testing rarely catches subclinical buildup. And so trust your instincts as a mama, just like Amber did. And you know your child better than your pediatrician. And is it safe for your child to be on medication? Well, we always space supplements outside of medications, but consult with your pediatrician on that. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's a brand new kit that just came out at Go to Sauna. This is, so our talk of the kids is done. Amber, let me just pause right there and thank you so much. You are such a beautiful soul. And I cannot tell you how much your friendship above all, but your trust in me means to me. I just appreciate you so much. And thank you for being on the call tonight and sharing your story and your information. I can tell by the chat that a lot of people were kind of shocked at what you've been through just from a mama heart point of view, so thank you for being on the call tonight.
Oh, thank you so very much. I appreciate you, Tina.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. So you guys, this new kit, I mean, look at everything that is in there for $129. You are getting eight essential oils. You're getting black seed oil. You're getting a frankincense nasal inhaler. You're getting the soap. You're getting the tooth powder, which there's another thing right there. There's toxins going into that baby's mouth. You're using Crest Kids toothpaste. It's going into the mouth that enters the bloodstream immediately. So that's a hard stop right there. And then you're getting Solus body oil. So, and the Daily Pause subscription, which is the Feel Good, Do Good, Be Good. It's a 3-minute daily pause that you get. It's a subscription service through Go to Sauna, $9.95 a month. It's absolutely beautiful to take that 3-minute pause. But Solus body oil is a vault product from Alexandria's vault of products that she has created over the years. It's never available. It's never been available It is only available in March in the Daily Pause collection. So all of this that you see right here is what is going to give you that solace. Uh, Body oil, sandalwood, neroli, bergamot. It's grounding composure in a bottle right there for you. And let's see, where are we going here? Deep cleanse next month. If you're not cleansing with this round, make sure you hop in on the next one. Directly after this call, if you're interested in learning more about the business side of this and sharing with your friends and family, Coach Marcus is such an amazing man. I just have so much mad respect for him. One Team, One Dream, hangout.com is the website. And he's going to go over the benefits of what we do and what we share. So thank you for attending the emotional pieces Mama carries right here. You did not fail your child by not knowing sooner. You did not know because no one told you. Guilt is not the protocol. Grace and action together are. Your child's body is resilient. Children heal faster than we give them credit for. You are the most powerful healer in your child's life, and that's not an exaggeration. Take it one step at a time, not everything at once. Healing is a direction, not a destination. So thank you for your time, everyone. I love you. I will see you next week. And yeah, give Amber some great love in the chat. And we will see you next week on the Detox Divas. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Amber, thank you so much. This is going to make an impact on so many people. So thank you. Oh, let's see. There we go.